Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope everybody is having a great start to the week. Students, in this class we're looking at IELTS reading. This is for the academic IELTS. For general IELTS, Section 3 is very similar to academic, everybody. The topic of today's reading is, why do people have red hair? Welcome, Anna. Hi, Fatime, SVB. Nice to see all of you. Nice to see everybody in the class. Students, this lesson is coming from aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. And for the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Over the next hour, I will teach you tips, strategies for the reading section, and we will read together. All right, let's do this. So here we go. Why do people have red hair? This is the reading passage. Now, of course, the very first step when you get to a passage in the reading section is read the title and think about it. So, why do people have red hair? What do you think, everybody? Why do people have red hair? Give me some answers in the chat. I am looking at the chat, everybody. It's here right in front of me, so I see your questions and your answers. Pima says it's genetics. Yeah, that's definitely. And what could lead to genetics that cause people to have red hair? SVB says, I think Scottish people have red hair. Good thinking. Yeah, what people have red hair. All right. So the passages in the academic and section 3 in general are about 1 3/4 of a page or 1 2/3 of a page, and they're followed by some questions. Read the questions before the passage that have information which is in the passage. So let's do that. Complete the sentences below. Choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. Write your answers in boxes 14 to 17 on your answer sheet. Number 14. And again, this is reading, everybody, so make sure to read with me. Red hair is common in countries with something from Western Europe. All right. Number 15, a something gene is one which can only be transmitted from generation to generation if both parents possess it. So, a couple of you said genetics. We can see definitely there will be some information here on genetics. Number 16. Evolution and something are both causes of the origin of red hair. In addition to red hair, the MC1R gene causes many something to occur on the skin. Okay, so don't try to figure out the answers for these. Don't worry if you don't understand all the words. It's okay. Now, yes, no, not given. So these questions give you facts that are presented in the passage or not presented, or the opposite is presented. These questions don't read. A lot of students try to read them before the passage. It's not helpful. They might not be in the passage if it's not given or if it's a no. It's like the true false not given. Don't read those. Okay? All right, so 22 to 26. Complete the summary using the list of words A to H. Write the correct letter. So here we have a summary completion type question. Again, this is all in the text, so it is good to read it. All right, don't worry about the choices. They can confuse you. It's easy to accidentally pick the wrong choice, especially before you read. So don't worry about the choices. Just read the summary. Redhead misconceptions. Redheads have suffered from a number of negative stereotypes throughout their history. Notable In some cultures, they were thought to lack something. Today, conversely, they are thought to be enjoyable and something people. The perception that redheads are dying out is entirely something because the MC1R gene is recessive and can miss something. Redheadedness has been around for thousands of years, and though the something of redheads in the world may decrease, they are here to stay. All right, so there we have the summary completion, everybody. Indu, some people might have red hair because they dye their hair, but I think this passage is talking about people who are naturally redheads. All right, so we're going to listen to this passage and read it. Okay. Again, these materials are coming from our websites, ahelp.com, gieltshelp.com. Premium website users get weekly lessons on Thursdays and Fridays as well. Now, here is our general IELTS website. You can sign up for the premium package by clicking the big red button. For the academic, it's the same idea. It's the blue background. It's aehelp.com, and you can join by clicking that big red button. We are the oldest IELTS content producers on YouTube. We had the first videos on YouTube. We're an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, and an IELTS test registration center. When you have a premium account, you have lots and lots of audio CDs, including audio for the reading, and we're going to listen to the audio for this reading and read with this British person. So get ready, everybody. This will be CD 4. Audio track 6, I believe.
Why do some people have red hair? Red hair is an exceedingly rare trait, especially in areas of the world such as Asia, Africa and South America. In Western Europe, however, red hair is relatively common. In some countries, such as Scotland, red hair is more common than blonde hair. Additionally, countries with historical immigration from Western Europe, such as the United States and Canada, also show high incidences of red hair. Red hair has been around for thousands of years, if not far longer. There are ancient Greek accounts of redheads, and even ancient Egyptian ones. The story of why people have red hair is interesting, and has to do with genetics, evolution and geography. The gene for red hair is what is known as a recessive gene, which means that the gene can only be passed down to the next generation if both parents possess the gene, and even then the probability is only 25%. But it is important to note that not only redheads carry the gene for red-headedness, rather, in some countries, up to 40% of the population carries the gene. This accounts for the birth of a red-headed child to non-red-headed parents. The parents may not be red-headed themselves, but they carry the gene. And if their ancestry was to be analysed, there would surely be redheads up and down their family tree. The specific gene for red hair is called the melanocortin-1 receptor, MC1R, and was discovered in 1995 by Professor Jonathan Rees at the University of Edinburgh. This gene is responsible for red hair, along with the other tertiary attributes associated with red hair, pale skin and myriad freckles, for example. But why did people ever have red hair in the first place? The answer, some scientists think, has to do with evolution and geography. The places where red hair is relatively common, Northern Europe and Western Europe, have lower sunshine levels than other parts of the world. This lack of sunshine resulted in a lack of vitamin D production in its inhabitants, exposure to the sun being humans' main source of the nutrient, which can result in rickets, a condition which can lead to the deformity of bones. One of the side effects of the MC1R gene is that redheads more easily absorb vitamin D due to the low amounts of eumelanin in their bodies. On one hand, this results in a particular predisposition to sunburn. However, it also allows redheads to avoid rickets, even when underexposed to the sun. Redheads also have a number of other curious attributes that are associated with the MC1R gene. First, they have a higher tolerance for pain than non-redheads. Studies have shown that redheads require up to 20% more anesthesia for sedation than non-redheads. Second, redheads are more sensitive to cold temperatures. This is especially curious because red-headedness originally developed as an adaptation for cold, sun-poor environments. Evolution is not perfect. And it may be the case that maladaptation to cold temperatures is the price redheads pay for adaptation to low levels of sunlight. Third, redheads bruise more easily than non-redheads. There does not seem to be any evolutionary reason for such a trait, though it certainly does contribute to the negative stereotype of redheads as less physically capable than non-redheads. This is not the only negative stereotype that has cursed redheads throughout the centuries. At times in history, redheads have been thought to be witches, evil, unclean and soulless. Today, these stereotypes have thankfully given way to more cheery stereotypes of redheads as fun and quirky individuals. In recent years, a perception has been created that redheads are dying out and will eventually become extinct as a genetic category. This is patently false. Red hair, as a recessive gene, has the ability to skip generations and return in full force. Red hair has been around for thousands of years, perhaps as many as 100,000 years. And there are no signs of its forthcoming extinction. While redheads may make up a shrinking percentage of the world's population due to higher growth among non-European populations, the redhead gene is here to stay.
It is.
The aesthetic merit of abstract art.
That is the next reading. Students, again, this audio, these readings, these passages, they're coming from our website here at aehelp.com. I see that Carolina, our chat moderator, has joined. Lovely to have you with us, Carolina. You see her in blue. Carolina, you can put the URLs for us, please, into the chat if you have a moment. And again, to join the premium version, just click on that big red button that's over to the side of me there, and that way, and it's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access, only costs about $40-50, and you will have lots of materials, videos, and access to live classes on Thursdays and Fridays as well. All right, students, let's read this together now. So the apps, by the way, are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. We'll use Zoom to interact with each other, and the schedule for this week for these live classes, tomorrow we'll have speaking at the same time, and then premium students, you have a task 2 writing class at the same time and a speaking class at the same time on Thursday and Friday, and they will be a little bit longer than these YouTube classes. They will be 75 minutes in length instead of the 60. All right, students, so let's do this. We're going to use Zoom, and Zoom is a great piece of software that helps us talk to each other in these live YouTube classes. So I will put the Zoom link into the chat. There you go. and I will start up this Zoom session and get people to volunteer and read and answer questions. Meanwhile, I will give you feedback and strategy and help so that you can improve your reading skills for your next IELTS exam. All right, let's do this. And I'm using my video on YouTube, but you're welcome to use it in Zoom. If you turn on your video, make sure that you pay attention. You are responsible for what you say and what you show in the video. Okay, I'm letting in your classmates. Now, Anahita, nice to see you. User, nice to see you. Sharon, I'm just going to mute everybody for now so we can bring order to this system. All right. Hi, everyone. Hi, user. I'm not sure what your name is, but you can type it in the chat. Okay. Okay, we've got a few more people to let in here, and then as people join, I will let them in, but I'll start getting people to volunteer and read. Okay. We'll have several different volunteers read. So students, the way that you volunteer is by raising your hand. So you can see that Anna has put up her hand, Anahita, Alexander has put up his hand. The way you put up your hand to volunteer to read is just simply in reactions. You have raise hand. You see that my little hand went up there for the reading as well, and then I can lower my hand. Okay, and let's see, I think somebody used the chat here as well. All right, we've got a couple more people coming in, so we'll let everybody in. Okay, good to see everybody. All right, user, would you like to volunteer to? Yes, okay. I figured you would. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi, may I have your name, please?
Yes, my name is Lena, but you also know me as Unforgettable Russian Accent in chat.
Okay, Unforgettable Russian Accent. All right.
It's a little bit ironic name because I have such a strong Russian accent, you know.
That is absolutely fine. By the way, everybody, just accents are lovely. They are a part of our personality. They are who we are, and it's nothing to worry about in the IELTS exam. Whether you have a thick accent or a thin accent, doesn't matter. If I can understand you, if the examiner understands you, if your listener understands you, that's all that's needed. People speak English. 2 billion people speak English as a second language with all kinds of accents. All right. And you said that your name is Liana?
Lena. Helen or Lena?
Helen or Lena. Leana. Okay, I'll try to see. My pronunciation's terrible if I were to speak Russian, I'm sure. So the opposite is true as well. All right, we'll do the reading. So, and may I ask, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
Okay, actually, I'm trying to get a scholarship and study abroad. And
okay.
This is my second attempt.
Okay. Well, let's make sure that you pass this time and you don't need to do a third attempt, right? Right. Okay, let's do this. So we're going to read, and I will ask you some questions. We're going to practice our active reading. Active reading basically means that you're visualizing, imagining, thinking, and hopefully seeing some people with red hair. It almost looks like you kind of have red hair. Is your hair more on the reddish or brownish?
I think they are rather reddish.
Yeah, it's more reddish. Yeah, and Russia, quite a few people have red hair too, right?
Yes, you are right.
Okay. All right, well, let's do this. Let's read. So I'll get you to read the title and the first paragraph, the introduction. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay, I'm ready, as always.
Go for it.
And where can I see the...
So you have Zoom open. If you have YouTube open still, you should be able to see it in YouTube.
Just a moment. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's your first time doing this. I totally get it. People kind of get lost when you have multiple software going. Take a moment.
Okay. Why do some people have red hair? Red hair is an exceedingly rare zest, especially in areas of the world such as Asia, Africa, and South America. In Western Europe, however, red hair is relatively common. In some countries...
Just 1 second. Sorry, Leanna, just 1 second. Okay. Can you unmute yourself one more time, Helen? Just unmute yourself, Helen, one more time. Nope, can't hear you yet. You have to unmute yourself. Just unmute yourself, Helen. You're muted. You're muted. You have to unmute yourself. I had to mute you because some people had their mics on and we're having difficulty hearing you. So I had to mute you. So just unmute yourself one more time, Helen. Just click unmute. You have to toggle between Zoom. Yeah. I can probably unmute you as well. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so go again from in some countries.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right, so go again from in some countries. Oh, and Helen, mute YouTube. So everybody who's using it for the first time, you have to be careful where your audio is. So mute YouTube. So on YouTube, you see like a little speaker. You have to click that little speaker so you're not getting double audio into software.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So go from in some countries.
In some countries, such as Scotland, red hair is more common than blonde hair. Additionally, countries with historical immigration from Western Europe, such as the United States and Canada, also show high incidences of red hair. Red hair has been around the thousands of years, if not far longer. There are ancient Greek accounts of red heads and even ancient Egyptian ones. The story of why people have red hair is interesting and has to do with genetics, evolution, and geography.
Awesome. Okay. So let's take a moment. Everybody, when you're in your IELTS exam and you're reading, pay special attention to the introduction and of course the conclusion, but especially the introduction because the introduction has so much valuable information to help you answer questions, okay? First of all, the introduction should remind you to really visualize and picture and imagine what you're reading. So here, Helen, you did a fantastic job reading, and your reading is absolutely nice and smooth and fast. Students, make sure that you read the passages. So Helen, you should definitely be reading the passages and then answering the questions, not just searching for answers, okay? There are a lot of videos and some teachers say, oh, you just have to search for keywords and search for the answers and don't worry about reading the passage. That's not true. Even the IELTS people say that, which is really strange. Any teacher or trainer of IELTS who wants to get a high band score like an 8 or a 9 on the IELTS exam will read the passage. So it's really strange for me that people teach what they don't do. So it's good to read it. And you have to pay attention, you have to visualize, you have to picture. So here, you should be picturing different kinds of situations. When you read this, Helen, what do you picture? So in your head, what do you see?
I think what I saw a kind of map, and when I read about ancient Greeks and Egyptians, I something pops up in my mind, like these cultural things from museums, like ancient Greeks with red hair.
All right. Well, you know what? That's great. I love it. I love how you saw the map, the way that, different people with red hair are positioned in different places in the world on this map. And then you saw a museum with like Egyptians that have like this kind of red hair, which is quite interesting. Whenever you can, students, and I think you can most of the time, you should connect the text to yourself, because when you connect yourself to the text, your brain becomes even better at figuring out information, understanding it, using it. And Helen, since you kind of have red hair, as we discussed, right, for sure, you can connect this. You can imagine that maybe your great-great-great-grandfather was an Egyptian with red hair, and he came on a giant elephant to Russia and settled down. You never know, right? Or maybe somebody from Greece 1,000 years ago, right? There's a good chance, right? So when you connect that, you're like, oh, wait a second, could my ancestor be some red-headed Greek? Quite possibly, right? So when you connect it to yourself. Now, one other important part of the introduction is always the thesis statement. Students, in essay writing, and this is an essay, okay, there is a thesis. The thesis is in the introduction, and the thesis gives the writer the points that they are discussing and their main kind of argument and structure for the essay. It will help you understand how the essay is put together. Okay, Helen, in this case, what's the thesis statement? Which sentence is the thesis? To the best of your ability, which one do you think is the thesis?
I think the rate of red hair people in different countries.
I'll give you a hint. Usually the thesis statement in an essay is the last one or two sentences of the introduction.
Okay. Then the story of why people have red hair is interesting and has to do with genetic evolution and geography.
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah, so that's basically the thesis statement, and that's your index for the essay. So a good writer, and IELTS passage writers are very good writers, they write a good thesis, and they're basically telling you like, hey, look, in the first body paragraphs, I'm going to tell you about genetics, then I'll tell you about the evolution, the geography, and it will follow this kind of pattern. And take a look at the first sentence of the next paragraph, Helen.
Mm-hmm. The gene for the red hair is thus known as a recessive gene, which means that the gene can only be passed down to the next generation if both parents possess the gene, and even then the probability is only 25%.
Perfect. So see, there it is, the gene, right? And in the thesis statement, it says genetics, evolution, and geography. So it's no surprise that the first paragraph here is genetics. So even for those students who really like searching for answers and skimming and scanning for answers, be very attentive, pay attention to that thesis statement. It will help you figure out where you should search if you are searching, right? Because it's basically an outline for the essay, okay? All right, Helen, that was fantastic reading. Hang in there. I'll get some of your peers to do a little bit more reading, and then we'll look at the questions, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for volunteering. That was your first time, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I was so, excited, and I'm so appreciate what you are doing, such role of, it's really a treasure. Your lessons is a treasure.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering. All right, everybody. That was Helen. And she was great. That was Lena. Thank you, Ariadna. I thought it was Liana, but it's Lena. Lena. Thank you, Ariadna, for clarifying that for me in the chat. All right. Anahita, Carolina say thumbs up. Okay. Anna, can you unmute yourself as well, please? We'll get you to read the next paragraph.
Hello,
Hi, Anna.
everyone. Hello.
All right. Anna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and at that moment there is no power at my home, and I'm joining from the local cafe this lesson.
I see that
It's
you're
like
on the move.
nature like a background.
All right, just make sure you watch your step. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get you to read the next paragraph for us then, which is the one that Lena just started. The gene for red hair is what is known as.
Okay, as the gene for red hair is what is known as a recessive gene, which means that the gene can only be passed down to the next generation if both parents possesses the gene, and even the probability is only 25%. But it is important to note that not only red hairs carry the gene for redheadedness. Rather, in some countries, up to 40% of population carries the gene. This accounts for the birth of a red-headed child to non-red-headed parents. The parents may not be red-headed themselves, but they carry the gene if their ancestry has to be analyzed. They would surely be redheads up and down the family tree.
Perfect. So a little bit about genetics here. And IELTS usually presents ideas that most of us learn from about grade 9 to grade 12. That's the goal. So IELTS is designed for 16 and up, and it's usually suggested for 18 and older. So of course they're going to design the test with concepts that are taught in school from about grade 9 to grade 12. So it's a really good idea to review grade 9 to 12 text in English if you have the chance. Okay, Anna, a couple of questions. Why is redheadedness less common than dark hair like black or brown hair?
I think if it could be for genetic only 25%, I think because of mixture of people from different colors of skin, like also could be.
No, just keep it simple. So according to this paragraph, according to genetics, why is red hair less common than brown or black hair? It's an inferred answer. It comes from the topic sentence, which is the very top sentence.
Because of recessive gene. It has some specific gene which can be inherited for the next generation.
What's the opposite of a recessive gene, Anna? Opposite, quote unquote opposite. So what's the opposite? And you have your peers helping you if you're having trouble. So recessive
dominant
gene, is one that is less common because it requires both parents to have it, versus the dominant gene. So in a very simple way, Anna, why is red hair less common than brown or black hair?
Because of non-red-haired parents, because both parents has another dominant.
Exactly. Yes. So simply said, Anna, red hair is recessive gene, brown and black hair are dominant genes.
Yeah, because based on this text, if both parents has red hair, the child will also possess this red hair if both parents has it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Anna, thank you for reading. Happy travels. Pay attention to your step. I see you stopped, which is good. That made me feel more comfortable that you stopped for a second. So I'm sitting
on the chair.
On a bench.
Yeah, on the bench. I'm not moving. No, it's like probably like visualization from web camera, like has this effect, but I'm sitting, I'm not moving.
No, I can see that you're stationary. You're stationary.
Yeah.
All right, Anna, thank you for reading. Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
That was lovely. Okay, everybody, let me just let your friends in to the session here. And I'm just going to mute everybody again, and then we'll find another volunteer. Let's just jump over to Neemar here. Neemar, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Hi, Neemar. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. What about you?
I am doing excellent. Thank you for asking. Neemar, we're going to move along nicely. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and read the next body paragraph, starting with the specific gene for red hair.
The specific gene for red hair is called the melanocortin-1 receptor, MC1R, and was discovered in 1995 by Professor John Ethan Rees at the University of Edinburgh. This gene is responsible for red hair along with the other tertiary attributes associated with red hair, pale skin, and myriad freckles. For example, but why did people ever have red hair in the first place? The answer, some scientists think, has to do with evolution and geography. The places where red hair is relatively common, Northern Europe and Western Europe, have lower sunshine levels than the other parts of the world. This lack of sunshine resulted in a lack of vitamin D production in its inhabitants, exposure to sun being humans' main source of the nutrient, which can result in rickets, a condition which can lead to the deformity of the bones. One of the side effects of MC1R gene is that redheads more easily absorb vitamin D due to low amounts of eumelin in their bodies. On one hand, this results in a particular predisposition to sunburn. However, it also allows redheads to avoid rickets even when underexposed to the sun.
That was great, Neemar. That's beautiful reading. And, there were some tricky words there, and you had no problem reading through them, and you got the pronunciation of most of them correctly, which is great. So, again, in your mind, everybody, and in the IELTS exam, you can actually do this on the paper where you create a little diagram. This is called a mind map, Neemar, that I'm going to draw you here. So you've got the MC1R gene, right, which basically equals red hair. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody got that from the paragraph. Now, the redheads have freckles, right? So freckles are those little spots on the face, right? That are usually around kind of the nose. Those little speckles are quite cute. A lot of people will say those little speckles around the face, right? That's one. What else does it lead to? So if I have this little diagram here, right? So they have pale skin. I can't really draw that here, but I'll just draw a little arm with with a P on it, so pale skin. Obviously I can do this just by visualizing it too, right? So I don't have to draw it on paper, I can visualize it. So we've got the freckles, we've got the pale skin. What else do we have, Neemar, connected to this gene?
So, like the factors, evolution and geography.
Okay, so the author talked about a couple of interesting points that are connected to this MC1R gene. Okay, Anahita says that people who don't get enough sunshine, they can get the deformity of the bones, but redheaded people don't get this deformity, right? So maybe you would draw like a bone like this, right? So redheaded people theoretically have very strong bones, right? Because they can absorb vitamin D easier, produce vitamin D easier than non-red hairs with less sunshine. So I might even have like a little sun here, but with clouds, around it like that. Okay. You kind of following me here, Nimar? Am I losing you?
Yes, sir, I'm following.
Okay. So I would have that kind of an image going on as well. Okay, so here again in my head I would create this, or you could actually do this on your note paper in the actual exam when you have this type of a passage where they're linking information to one main concept. You can kind of create this mind map of information. You're going to see that later. It will say that redheads are also kind of funny, so the word funny or just a laughing emoji could be one as well. Okay, Nimar, read one more for us. So read, redheads also have a number of other curious attributes.
Redheads also have a number of other curious attributes that are associated with the MC1R gene. First, they have a higher tolerance for pain than non-redheads. Studies have shown that redheads require up to 20% more anesthesia for sedation than non-redheads. Second, redheads are more sensitive to cold temperatures. This is especially curious because redheadedness originally developed as an adaptation for cold, sun-poor environments. Evolution is not perfect, and it may be the case that maladaptation to cold temperatures is the price redheads pay for adaptation to low levels of sunlight. Third, redheads bruise more easily than non-redheads. There doesn't seem to be any evolutionary reason for such a trait, though it certainly does contribute to the negative stereotype of redheads as less physically capable than non-redheads.
Okay, so again, just lots more information here of traits that are associated with people who have red hair. Now, if you didn't remember all of this, that's fine, but the easiest way to remember this, Nimar, and this is the suggestion I gave to Lena as well, is include yourself. So Nimar, do you have red hair?
No, like I'll imagine.
But you can imagine it, right? Have you ever thought about, maybe dyeing your hair a little bit red?
No.
Fair enough. I was just asking, playing with the thought, right? So imagine that you have red hair. And if you imagine that you have red hair, you can imagine and connect all of these ideas to yourself. And when you connect all of these ideas to yourself, then when you finish the passage, it will be much, much easier to remember all this. Go, oh yeah, I have red hair. Oh yeah, I have freckles around my nose. Oh yeah, I bruise easily. So I've got little blue spots on me where I hit my arm or I hit my knee on an object. Or, oh yeah, I don't like the cold. I get cold really easily, so I wear a big jacket, right? So you can remember all of these details because you connect it with yourself. So you picture yourself with red hair and all of these traits are connected to you, then it will be easier to use the information. The reason I'm saying this, Nimar, is because, for instance, your reading skills are great. It's like your fluency, your pronunciation, and I think your pronunciation of these, it's great, okay? For a student who is as good as you in reading in English, Nimar, you should not be looking for at least half of the answers. So at least 50% of the questions and answers you should be able to do no problem just from reading the passage one time. Are you following me, Nimar?
Yes.
Okay. And everybody else who reads like Nimar, that's how you should be thinking is, okay, in the IELTS passage, when I read, I should answer half of the questions without looking at the text, and I should be basically 100% sure of those answers. Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly that, Nimar, and I'll get one of your peers to help. Okay, so just hang in there.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nimar. All right, everybody, give Nimar a thumbs up too. That was lovely, just fantastic reading. Sharan, can you unmute yourself, please?
Hi.
How are you,
Hello.
Sharan?
Yeah, thank you. I'm okay.
Great.
Can you hear me?
I can. Sharan, is this your first time volunteering?
Yes, this is my first time.
Excuse me, I had a big sneeze sneak up on me. All right.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. Sharan, thank you for volunteering. Why are you taking the IELTS exam?
I'm planning to relocate from the country which I'm living right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where are you living and where are you relocating, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, sure. I'm living in Israel now, and I'm planning to relocate to the UK.
Great. Awesome. Adventure is out there. You just have to get it and go for it. All right.
Yeah.
Sharan, that's life. That's life. We live it once. All right. Sharan, I'll get you to read the rest of this and then we'll look at some questions. So whenever you're ready, go for it. This is not the only negative.
Right. So from here, yeah, this is not the from here, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the only negative stereotype that has cursed redheads through the centuries. At times in history, redheads have been thought to be witches, evil, unclean, and soulless. Today, these stereotypes have thankfully given away to more cheery stereotypes of redhead as fun and queer individuals.
Yeah, it's quirky individuals.
Quirky. I don't know what the word means, but quirky individuals.
I know what it means, but I don't know how to explain it. It's a really tricky one to explain. Quirky means kind of like funny in a strange way. It's a very unique and interesting word in English. It's one where I will tell you to check your dictionary. It's tricky to explain that one. Like I say, it means like funny in a weird kind of way. You really have to...
Luckily, the word fun is at first.
Exactly. And that's usually what the IELTS will do, is when they give you a word like that, they'll give you another word that kind of describes that word before it. Okay, read the conclusion, Sharan.
The conclusion. In recent years, perception has been created that redheads are dying out and will eventually become extinct as a genetic category. This is patently false. Red hair, as a recessive gene, has the ability to skip generation and return in full force. Red hair has been around for thousands of years, perhaps as many as 100,000 years, and there are no signs of its forthcoming extinction. While redheads while redheads may make up a shrinking percentage of the world's population due to higher growth among non-European population, the redhead gene is here to stay.
Okay, great. So that's the conclusion. Redheads are here to stay. Maybe there's less of them, but they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through some of the questions and answers. I'll get you to help with the first couple. So here we have complete the sentences below. Choose no more than 2 words, so maximum 2 words from the passage, which means that most of these are usually going to be like 1 word. Some might be 2 words. And they usually follow the pattern of the passage, but they don't have to, but they usually do. So it means 14 will be somewhere in the introduction, 15 could be body paragraph 1 or 2, and then they kind of go in this pattern down the passage. So Sharan, go ahead and read number 14 for us, please.
Question number 14. Red hair is common in countries with from Western Europe.
Okay. So what do you think goes in there based on what we've read?
Red hair is common in countries with something which is related to Western Europe. If I remember, actually I'm not remember. It's logically I would think that it's related to climate or something.
Okay, fair enough. So it could be that, you don't remember it perfectly and you're like, well, I would probably check this. I would probably check this in the passage too. So Western Europe is what I would look for. I would look for that somewhere in the beginning. Okay, so in the introduction, just skim over the introduction with your eyes and you will find Western Europe right here. Okay, now when you find that names are usually one of the easiest kinds of phrases or words to search for with your eyes, especially when they have this nice capitalization. Then start with the sentence before, like in Western Europe, and there it is again, right?
Yeah.
So start from there and read that again and then read through. Okay, so go ahead and read that sentence for us. In Western Europe.
In Western Europe, however, red hair is relatively common. In some countries, such as Scotland, red hair is more common than blonde hair. Additionally, countries with historical immigration from Western Europe, such as the United States and Canada, also show high
incidences
of red hair.
Good. So what do you think is the answer?
It's related to historical immigration.
Perfect. There you go. So the answer is red hair is common in countries with historical immigration from Western Europe, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you put the word immigration, they'll probably give it to you, but because it says two words, the best answer is historical immigration, so that's going to be the right word. Okay.
Adrian, sorry, if I may ask a question.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, in this part of question, should we just copy paste from the text, or we can use phrases as much as we want, and it will be okay?
Good question. The best way is to take the exact words from the text verbatim. So that's why even if you know the answer, it's good to just double check and make sure that's the same way they have it in the text. Do pay attention to grammar and make sure it's grammatically correct. It says choose no more than two words from the passage. So they want you to choose the words from the passage. However, having said that, if you have a perfect paraphrase and it's acceptable, they usually will give you the mark for it, as long as it's perfectly paraphrased and acceptable. Okay?
So if I understand correctly, it's not a computer algorithm which is checking the answers. It's a actually human being that checking it.
Both. So computers will check, and then a human will check too. And sometimes one or the other can make a mistake. The computers are so advanced now, so sometimes the human will make the mistake and the computer will say, no, that's correct. Right. So they both do. And that's why the IELTS also has the inquiry on results. So if you miss your band score by like half a band, like let's say your target is 7 and you get a 6.5, and you ask for a recheck or a remark, then there will be 2 more people that will check it. That's why it's so expensive to get those remarks, because they actually take a lot of extra time and energy to really check them and make sure that they didn't make this kind of a mistake. And sometimes they can. Sometimes they'll go, oh yeah, okay, that answer actually does make sense. We'll take it, we'll accept it, and then they give you the extra mark, right? So, and sometimes it's just those 1-2 marks that will push your band score by half a band. So it's not simple. That's some people think IELTS is just a business and they're in it for the money, but no, it's quite a complex exam. So so I know it's a tricky answer, but I hope that helps. Does that make it a little bit clearer now of how it works? Usually they're pretty good. Usually they'll get it the first time. So that's why usually marks don't change. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you for reading. That was great, Sharon. Okay. Yeah, language is very complex, students. Very, very complex. All right. Let's do a little bit more here. James Nguyen, can you unmute yourself, please?
Well, Mr. Asian, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, James?
Doing well. Thank you for asking.
All right, James, we'll leave the remainder of these questions for your classmates 15, 16, and 17 to figure out. You and I will do a yes, no, not given. How does that sound? You with me, James? Okay, I think your connection's a bit shaky, but we'll try. Can you read number 18 for me, please, James?
Number 18 exists sunshine causes rickets.
Okay. First of all, everybody, these are facts, right? So in this case, this is science about redheads, genes, and so on. So it's facts. It's not an opinion. That's why it's not true, false, not given. It's yes, no, not given, because it's facts. Okay. Now, first of all, we have to figure out if the fact is important or not important for the passage. So excessive sunshine causing rickets. Is that important for this passage, James, or not important, or too much detail?
Personally, it is important.
It is important. I heard you. Yes, you're correct. It's important because there's a big part about how the MC1R gene for redheads is related to vitamin D and sunshine. Yes, so it's important. So important. So it's given, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it true that excessive sunshine causes rickets? Rickets is that disease that deforms the bones.
I think it's wrong because it is obvious a little sunshine can cause the rickets personally.
So you said it's wrong, it's false.
Yes, it's wrong.
I agree with you 100%. James, very clever. So James says no, it's wrong. So this should be no. And I agree. It doesn't make logical sense, right? We need sunshine. Sunshine is good for us. Too much sunshine, of course, can lead to skin cancer or some other kind of burning your skin, but it's not going to cause rickets. It's not going to deform the bones. Sunshine is good. We need it for vitamin D. All right. James, thank you for helping us with that question. I'm going to kind of wrap up the class and give everybody a bit more instructions, but it sounds to me like you really know how to do these yes, no, not given questions. Do you have a question about the reading section, James?
No, currently I have no question. Thank you.
Okay, all right. If you do have a question, James, you can always let me know either in the class, in the chat, or via email, okay?
Sure.
Thank you, James, for volunteering.
Thank you, Mr. Asia.
All right. It was short and sweet, but James is great. All right, students, I see that you're also messaging each other in Zoom, which is fantastic. I'm going to stop the Zoom session there, but remember, for premium students, you have Zoom sessions on Thursdays and Fridays as well. I will show you the rest of these questions on the screen, and you can figure out the answers for these on your own. Email me your answers, and I will email you back the answer key, okay? Students, again, tomorrow we'll have speaking, so we'll use Zoom and we'll talk to each other. We'll do a speaking class where I will ask you some part 1, 2, and 3 questions. And remember that if you want to have classes on Thursday and Friday through Zoom also, you should sign up for the premium version of the course at aehelp.com and glshelp.com. These are our websites. This is what we used in this class for better learning. And you can do that by clicking the big red buttons. Carolina, if you could be so kind and put those URLs into the chat for us again. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access, and it really doesn't cost that much. General IELTS, it's glshelp.com. Thank you, Carolina. Carolina is also responsible for setting up the new look of the live classes. I hope everybody liked the new look of the class, and if you did, give a big shout out to Carolina as well. She's awesome. She's a graphic designer and illustrator and just a super talented person. Thank you, Carolina, for making this lovely frame and backdrop to the class. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, I look forward to teaching you speaking. And thank you for the belated Happy Canada Day. I saw that as well. Van, Anahita, everyone else, I will keep an eye out for you during the next session tomorrow. Make sure to study lots, and the reward will be yours. See you all tomorrow. I'm Adrian signing out from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. Much love to everybody. Bye.